Yo, what's up, boys and girls? The Mirko. Welcome to a patch review video. This is where we are going to talk a little bit about, the patches, obviously the changes in the map, etc. Apologies for not doing this a little earlier. I just wanted to get actual data from MPL matches as well, which means I want a reference for everything, because yeah, now it's like set in stone. We did see from MPL how a lot of the teams, professional teams, utilize these changes. And now I'm more comfortable talking about it because, yeah, we actually have something to, to reference for these changes. So this is my style of reviewing, by the way. So, yeah, we're not going to do it every time when it comes out. Sometimes we'll do it when it comes out, but when it's like a big change like this, I think it's better for us to wait and see how the pros, utilize it, and then we find out what happens. We dissect it. So, obviously, the big change that Moonton has been talking about are the map changes, broken walls, dangerous grass, flying cloud, and expanding rivers. I think everybody knows. I don't know if you guys, well, for people who don't know, broken walls means like there's more broken walls in the map. Dangerous grass, there are more bushes in the map. Flying cloud, there's a little thing now inside of your base where you guys can go and fly out. So it helps you get to lane quicker or get to your jungle quicker. Expanding rivers is basically the river current change with wider range, longer duration. This is the big change that Moonton was like putting out, right? I think the highlight of the whole patch before the patch came out was on the maps because, my lord, it is definitely a different thing. And it's the biggest thing, right? The instant thing you see when you're in game. But the biggest change to the game are the next thing. The next few things that we will see. Number one, it's the roaming boots. Roaming boots have changed by a whole lot. Now, if you guys are confused, basically, what it does is you get gold and XP when you open up different parts of the map, aka spot different enemies, okay? So for every person you spot, for every guy who's, not envisioned that you spot, you get gold and XP. And now you actually get 40% of the waves, well, technically 40% gold and XP independently. So you don't take away from your mid laner or your gold laner or your XP laner's gold in the mid lane or in their own respective lanes. When they clear out or when you clear out, you just get 40% gold and XP independently. You won't take away from them. So it's good for you guys to just go and get level 4. That's why a lot of times right now for MPL teams as well, they are able, the roamers, to get level 4 before Turtle 1 or right as Turtle 1 spawns, which was very difficult to do in the previous patch because you needed mid prio. We've seen different metas throughout the year so far. Sometimes the roamer goes XP, soaks in the XP as the XP laner goes mid. Sometimes the roamer just clears mid and then mid lane goes to XP back in the day. But now you don't need to do all those fancy moves. All you need to do is open up the map, reveal some opponents, and then clear waves like normal. That's why right now, actually, guys, if you guys want to know, the two best roamers in the game, in my opinion, are the two fast-clearing roamers. Maybe with the addition of Chip, but Chip is a bit more gambly in a way where you need to snowball right after... You need to snowball. That's the thing about the Chip. Technically, for every single pick that I said, snowballing is obviously really, really good. You know what? I think the whole meta is just revolves around snowballing. Why Chip's so good is because you can just teleport to the enemy side of the map and reveal, well, you just reveal the opponents very early, so you can get level 2 before the first wave starts if you reveal enough. If you reveal just 3 members though, it's already enough for you to just come in mid, get 1 minion, and then get level 2. So it's very, very quick. That's why Chip is almost auto banned in MPL Indonesia. Now, I haven't watched MPL Philippines, so I don't know how it works in MPL Philippines. Let me know if it's the same, if Chip is still also like prio banned there, but it is prio banned in Indonesia. Cho and Khalid are the 2 picks that I want to talk about even more. These 2 have already kind of been pretty good if you want to get a snowball going in the previous patch. But in this new patch, I'll tell you why it's super broken to just go for snowballs early. You do not want to play for late game in this new patch, okay? Let's scroll all over. I'm not going to talk about Dire Hit. I'm not going to talk about Conceal Favor because these are just base changes, Nothing too massive changing here. The big change, the biggest change of the game is this right here, the battlefield adjustments. Now, again, most people will be like, all right, map changes are really massive, roam changes are massive, but I don't think so. I think the biggest change that is not getting talked about, at least in, the general masses, by the general masses, is this change right here, which is the change that impacts everyone else in the game. Gold now from minions and creeps have been reduced by quite a bit, but more so in lane than in the jungle. Jungle are creeps, minions in the mid lane are what's called the minions here, okay, in case you're confused. But the passive income, the gold you gain every 2 seconds, you know, you randomly get gold. I don't know if you guys even know this, but yeah, you probably know. There's no way you don't. But now it's from 6 to 8. So you get more passive gold every 2 seconds, but you gain less gold from minions and from creeps. What does this do, Mirko? This means this, for me, goes against what they're trying to do. Moonton. Let's take a look at this. We've noticed that in recent ranked matches, the leading team's economic advantage has grown increasingly significant. We want to limit this and give the disadvantaged team more opportunities to make a comeback. I don't think this change makes it easier to come back. I think this change does the fucking opposite, dude. And I think we've seen it in Indonesia as well. We saw a few really good close games. I don't know about MPL Philippines. Okay, so let me know about MPL Philippines. But just from this alone, especially in ranked, I've just been stomping games. Whenever a team has the early game, it's almost a done deal. So yeah, why is it a done deal? Usually you're able to farm up. You're able to prolong the game through, again, trading on the map, looking for farm creatively through, you know, invading or just, you know, managing the waves properly. Now, even if you do that, you're not going to get as much gold. You're not going to get any gold, actually. Well, that's hyperbolic. You will get gold, but not as much. So it's harder to come back. You're going to have to come back through team fighting. The team who's ahead will obviously have the advantage in team fighting. This is a very bad way to try to make things more even. This is not how you do it, dude. But they did it, you know? I think if they wanted to make the whole game more team fighty, they've done a good job. But the thing is, they said they want to limit the economic advantage. No, this does the opposite, man. Like, guys, how many 10,000 gold leads have you guys seen in MPL Philippines? Because again, I don't know. In MPL Indo, we've had a lot of 10,000 gold leads, dude. Everyone who wins early mostly just wins out. The only team that didn't win out early, that won out early but didn't close out the game was Evos. But I think those were also due to some mistakes and due to BTR being able to keep it even for the most part. It wasn't really like a massive lead coming into the base and stuff, right? But if you have like a 5,000 gold lead at 5 minutes, 3,000 gold lead at 5, just those small gold leads, I think it's already enough to really snowball, because then the whole thing becomes purely team fight dependent and not really farm dependent, and you can take over games. So yeah. The jungle is also the main carry right now, guys. If you guys want to play in ranked, in your friendly or amateur tournaments, I think jungle is very, very important. So, because the reduction isn't as much as the gold lane. The gold lane can really only be online if you get to super late game, or if you pick heroes that are just snowbally early. That's pretty good too. So that's why you see more fighters in the gold lane, in case you're wondering. The CCs, the Rubies. You see more mages in the gold lane, the Lunoxes, the Hariths. Harith was already pretty meta, but Lunox now even more so. And that's why you see less heroes like the Moskov, like the 3-item power spike heroes. You only just see Claude, I think. I think the only 3-item power spike hero that really looks okay right now is the Claude. That's because he's pretty active. The Moskov, I heard Super Marco made it work. I'm very interested to see how that game played out and if it's still the same Moskov playstyle, because I highly doubt that it'll be the same Moskov playstyle. I think it's has to be different. But yeah, this is for me the biggest change to the patch. Then we're going to get to some of the heroes, right? Obsidia and Alice. Technically, Obsidia, the new hero, Alice revamped. I'm not going to get into it too much. Maybe next week we'll talk about them, because we won't be seeing it in MPL for a while. I'm sorry to you ranked people. You guys have to tell me about them. I have just banned those two heroes constantly. But I want to move on to prio picks in this patch. Now, because obviously the Angela is busted, guys. The Angela ult super low on the cooldown. Let's take a look at it, right? The cooldown of, look at this. It's honestly fucking bullshit. Fixed at 20 seconds. But what I do want to tell you guys right now, for Angela, it's different. It's a different hero right now. You used to be a person or a hero. Angela used to be a hero that could make squishy heroes tanky, right? That's why you play the Ling with the Angela, you play the Yi Sun Shin with the Angela, you play any assassin or fighter with the Angela. Now, you don't make people from squishy to tanky. You turn tanky heroes into very sustainable heroes, plus the tankiness. So it is better for you to combo it together with a fighter or just a tank to walk up forward. Obviously, this doesn't mean you cannot use it for your Yushin Shins and Lings. It still works, especially in ranked games. But especially when it comes to pro play, it really comes down to how you make proactive moves with the Angela on your team. You're no longer a reactive pick. I think we've seen this a couple of times in MPL as well, where I think it was Sans or... was it Sans? Yeah, I think it was Sans. The first game he played on Angela, he tried to react on the Angela a couple of times. He tried to look at like who's low, tap it in time, but it didn't work. So yeah, you're more of like a, okay, if we want to engage, you pop the Angela ult first and then we go in. Or we engage and then right as the engage is happening, the Angela ult comes in. Okay, so that's how you want to play the Angela nowadays when you come when we're talking about like the high levels of play. But if you're already snowballing, you can ult anyone, obviously. And obviously, you still want to ult people who are low to just sort of, you know, help them. Florin changes, I don't really care. That's kind of irrelevant. Bane is pretty solid. We did see 2 games. Bane, I think, like, can make an appearance when some conditions are met. Number one, when you're not up against like a crazy bully laner, all right? Because the Bane here is a magic damage Bane. It isn't the physical damage Bane where you can really dominate the lane with just skill 1. In the gold lane. So you're going to have to take into account that... you're going to have to take into account the fact that, you know, it's going to be quite tough for you guys to actually lane. And I think that's the case for everyone. But why it works is right now in a very dive-heavy meta, you guys can react to it and you guys can punish dive compositions with the deadly catch. Whenever they jump on you, just pop in deadly catch, just spit on their face, huak to on that thing, and burst them down. That's what we saw from Emon. That's what we saw from Innocent as well. Innocent was up against the Harith. Emon was up against the Claude and the Joy. Both of those want to dive, want to jump on you. So again, really, really conditional. I'll get to the second condition later because we will talk about the hero that makes all of these fighters, mages in the gold lane viable. We're going to move on because I'm just really going to go through the gist. Dama's changes are not really that significant because I don't really think this is a change that will make him meta in MPL, you know, in the high levels of play. Obviously, you guys can try to abuse this. There are some really good changes here. Just the 30 to 50% extra max HP, all this. There are some good changes. I just don't think it's viable right now. Sylvana, same thing. I don't think this is too viable right now. Kimi nerfs, obviously, and CC. Obviously, there were also nerfs to Yushin Shin. Where are the nerfs to Yushin Shin? Yushin Shin's HP got nerfed, if I'm not mistaken here. I don't know why it isn't shown here. Or am I mistaken? No, I think Yushin Shin did get... Interesting. Wait, let me just hop on practice to see, because I am pretty confident that it was nerfed. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't put this in the patch thing, but okay. So Yushin Shin has actually been nerfed. This is the hero that I really want to talk about for you guys back at home. Decreased early to mid game HP and mid to late game burst potential. So there's actually quite a significant... This is quite a significant nerf to Yushin Shin early on, so it's very easy for you to punish. But then you see the HP growth, and then that's when you start to think, all right, in the mid game, he'll be able to balance it out, so it balances the nerf. But still, in terms of damage, you are going to be doing less with your ultimate. Anyways, despite the nerf, you're probably asking, Mirko, why is it still super meta? And I will be opening up drafts now for us to talk about that even more. Okay, so welcome to the segment where we talk about, again, what we said earlier about the Yushin Shin. So why is Yushin Shin so prio in MPL? MPL ID, MPL Philippines, and why is Khalid and Cho so prio in every MPL as well? And why are they just getting wins on top of wins on top of wins? I even checked MPL Philippines stats and for Khalid and Cho. And yeah, a lot of the winning teams do have Khalid, do have Cho, do have these fast clearing roamers. So first, let's stick to the Yushin Shin first, right? This is where we get to drafts and talk a little bit about it. Yushin Shin. Let's talk about, first, let's mention what Yushin Shin brings to the table. You're a marksman in the jungle, which means you bring range, right? You have pretty good clear. You have a way to open up the entire fucking map, okay? And you're insane early to mid because of the new ultimate that we saw after the patch, after 2-3 patches ago. All this results in the whole composition being opened up. The core fundamentals of MLBB drafting gets opened up. We already saw this, obviously, from the last patch. That's why we see more Harrods in the gold lane. We've been seeing Rubies when, Aurora Turkey pulled it off first, I believe. We saw a Lunox in the gold lane as well. So we've already been seeing a few of these come out. CC Gold as well. I don't know if that was paired up with the Yisun Chan. I think it was. I believe it was, right? For Benny QT. But anyways, these were the things that were already shown. But now, why is Yisun Shin even more meta? I gotta go back to the passive gold change. Sorry for my doctor's handwriting, guys, okay? But the passive gold change and the reduced gold in minions, reduced in minions and creeps, has more of an effect on why Yisun Shin is very, very prio now. Because again, when you talk about the Ruby in the gold lane, when you talk about the Lunox in the gold lane, when you talk about the CC in the gold lane, what stops these fighters and like short range mages from appearing in the gold lane? For the most part, well, actually, we will scratch Lunox because he can still work even with an assassin in the jungle. Why the fighters in general, right? Like the Ruby, CCs, Banes even, Esmeraldas, these kind of picks. Why are they not able to be picked up in the gold lane before? Well, number one, they don't farm as well. You get so much gold, so you want to farm. You don't want to be active, right? Number two, you need someone in the gold lane to have range. Because usually you don't go for the Yisun Shin, right? You go for assassins, you go for tanks, you play for the gold lane. But now with the reduced gold in minions and creeps, it stops the point of both of those points. Number one, it strengthens the point of you need to be active more than you need to farm. Being active now is way more value, especially in some maps like the fucking expanded river. Okay? Very, very important to be active. So extra prio now on picking up Yisun Shin in the expanded rivers. Extra prio now in picking up Khalid or Cho in the mid lane. We'll get to that later. But with all this coming together, this is why the Yisun Shin is so good. Because when you pick it up here, you don't know what's coming out next in the gold lane. You could be expecting a Bane. You could be expecting a normal early game dominant hero like a Granger still. You could still be expecting like the Harrods. But it just creates a problem for the enemy team to ban out later. This is an amazing pick. Even when you pick up Ruby here, you now don't know if it's going to go gold or XP. You pick up CC here, you don't know if it's gold or XP because of the Yisun Shin. If that's not a Yisun Shin, say it's a Hayabusa, and the Ruby gets picked up, you know for sure it's going XP. Why? Because then it'll be too one-dimensional, and teams would actually take the gamble of being like, all right, if that's actually going to gold, we'll just play the normal way, because you're very, very reliant on just winning out early game and popping off. But with the Yisun Shin, it becomes kind of like, all right, even if we lose Turtle 1, we can still play for Turtle 2, wait for those power spikes, and then fight again. Because we still have ways to trade, to see, to look for plays around the map with the Mountain Shocker. So, again, that open up as well is very, very good, okay? But it also comes down to the passive gold. I'm sorry if the writing was messy, but I hope you guys understand. And this was a good example for me because they were able to pull off a fucking Bane, dude. They were actually losing in this game, right? And I'll get to why. Very, very soon. But I will use a different game to explain to you guys, which is going to be Na'Vi versus Alter Ego, because this game, I think, really shows you what's super prio and what's the most important thing in the meta right now. This is what I was talking about earlier. The flex potential that Coach Do utilized is what we just said. When you see the CC early with the Yisun Shin, you don't know where it's going to go. It could go gold. It could go XP. But the big problem right here for Na'Vi, I'll try to test you guys because this is the next part of what we're going to be talking about. What's the problem with Na'Vi's draft? Maybe you guys can say a comment right now. If you guys get it right, that's a plus point. If you don't, then whatever, you guys will get the answer anyways. But right now, Alter Ego have a pretty big advantage, and it is through mid prio. They have a Jusin plus a Hilda versus a Grok and an Angela. Now, when it comes to clearing wave, Grok was really, really good. Now, though, especially in this matchup against the Jusin, you can get picked up very, very easily. You can get punished easily. The Angela as well, okay? So this is why whenever you see an Angela, guys, the Angela is good. It's a good pick, but you still need components to play around the Angela. You need a Khalid or a Cho. These are the two best picks to play right now. Not just for the Angela, for any mid lane, because you want to clear mid and have that early game pressure. very, very early. And these two are the best to do it. They have really insane base damage. Khalid has healing. Cho has mobility. You choose what you want. Mobility in team fights. Khalid obviously has the mobility advantage when it comes to rotating around. But because they didn't have this, they ultimately ended up losing in the mid lane hard. And that was what caused this game to go crazy for Alter Ego. So yeah, let's go through it. Let's see what happened. 800 gold lead in the early minutes. That's almost like a GG sign, guys, because you're cooked. Okay, you do not ever want to do that. You don't want to lose this early. And again, this is how they utilize the prio in mid lane. You have to understand what your composition brings to the table. When you have a clean and Cho, you are clearing very fast to get tempo around the map. Okay, before that, let's talk about what tempo means, in case you're wondering. Tempo is basically a couple of like a time frame or an advantage you get in your own lane where you could utilize it somewhere else. So a good example, the easiest example would be when you have a Khalid or Cho or any mid laner, where you clear out mid quicker, you rotate quicker. That's tempo. You have the tempo advantage. You're the one utilizing the tempo on the map while the enemy team is stuck, right? Clearing the wave in mid. So that's what I mean by tempo. Now we're going to move on again to continue the point. Alter Ego, in terms of clear, I think it's a bit 50-50, right? Because there's a Grok here with Concussive Blast as well. So what they do is they're actually just zoning with the better fighting heroes here. Why they do this as well is because they have a Lancelot, okay? You have to understand this. Yi Sun-shin brings a lot of things to the table, but what it doesn't bring is early level 1 to 3 fighting capabilities. You're not the best at level 1 to 3 fighting. Hayabusas, Lancelots, Joys, all that, you know, the ones with mobility, the ones that can catch up, are really, really good at fighting early. So that's ultimately what happened. Ukir just gets zoned away. Massive props to Alter Ego, by the way, for understanding this. A lot of mid laners would just go for the clear. You have to understand every single matchup. This is why in this position, Alter Ego don't. They just go for the clear. They go for the punish constantly, and they were able to set up for a gank. But then we have to move on to the next one. Okay, so they get this. It's GG. Like they were able to win out the game. I would say it's purely because of that. And then they go on to win Turtle 2. Sorry, Turtle 1. But then we move on to this next one. Oh, sorry. This is game 3. We'll go to game 2 first. Game 2. Again, this time, Na'Vi, take the Yi Sun-shin, take the Juicin, and the Harith, right? It's almost like the same composition. Alter Ego still have the better early game as of right now when we take a look at just the draft. But then we see the Cho come in. And I think for me, that's where it's GG. Usually you see the Khalid plus the Cho ban here, especially when you see this kind of composition, because this is, again, a composition that wants to play for Turtle 1, wants to just play around with tempo on the map, with the Yi Sun-shin open, with the Juicin early brawls, plus the Cho clear. All they need now is an XP that can fight as well, and then they'll get the advantage, which they did pick up. Yeah, Lapu Lapu. And the response from Alter Ego was pretty darn bad. They try to double down on the fight for these, and then they pick up Mathilda, which is just pretty weird because it doesn't really synergize with the rest of the team here in terms of beating them. It does synergize with the Phoveus. I think they're playing more for a combo, but in this particular situation, you're never going to use the combo and you're never going to get into those spaces because you're just off every single time due to the mid clear. Mid clear, very, very important. We'll see it here, okay? Complete opposite. You saw how Alter Ego had the better brawling composition. Now, look at the clear. Hijume, Alec. This is where Na'Vi really find success. So a lot of teams that want to counter Na'Vi, I think this would be it. If you want to counter a lot of the big teams, this is what you want to do. They just played for tempo. So they get into bushes quicker, they get into position quicker, and they're able to set up really, really well, which here doesn't really get it utilized that much for the lethal, but they were able to utilize it to invade. They noticed this, they went up, they cleared up the lethal wanderer, right? And instead of the traditional route of going back, they still have the tempo advantage here because the wave hasn't come through and there's no vision on them. They went and invaded the jungle. Why is this possible? The base damage of Cho, like I said, this is very, very good with the Khalid too. So if you have these kind of heroes you want to fight, and you also want to respect it now, if you're on the enemy team, Yazuke definitely did not. And that's why we saw that. And then it just constantly kept on happening. Mid lane clear, into rotations, into the enemy team not knowing what to do. The Hijume stuck in mid. They get pretty good advantages throughout, you know, just getting the positions and invading the jungle. This is also, again, done through that tempo control that is not there for Alter Ego. Yazuka is level 3, and they still decide to fight for Turtle 1. Early game, very, very prio. It's bad for Alter Ego because their draft doubled down on the fact that they want to fight Turtle 1, the fact that they want to snowball themselves. But Yazuka is level 3, so that kind of already contradicts itself, and that's why the Mathilda was a bad pick in the end for me. They're all just zoned away. Getting this control all around was, again, through clearing the mid quicker, right? Look at that. You clear the mid quicker, you get this position, and it's very hard for a losing team to retake when jungler's level 3. So that's why mid prio is extremely important. If you guys want to win games, and ranked especially right now, just go Khalid, go Cho, play aggressive, take control of the map early, go for Yi Sun Shin if you want to open up like for the Harith and the Banes. But yeah, I think it's as simple as that right now. Because if you win out early game, you're no longer able to fully throw the game. It's very hard to throw the game because the gold that you get from minions on the enemy team and on your team is way less. So yeah, that's I think what the meta is going to look like for the most part. You just want to get as many early to fight heroes as possible. Then you can add in a little bit of scaling here and there, like the Harith, the Claudes, maybe can still work the Lunoxes as well. Okay, Kalea is a good option too, but Kalea is very dependent on a combo, okay? Kalea clears wave really well. He actually brawls in the mid lane better than any of the, even better than the Khalid and the Cho because of the healing sustain factor with the passive. But you're very reliant on combo. So when you go on a team fight, you can't just do what a Cho and Khalid does. You know, Khalid and Cho, they can randomly go and, you know, deal damage, walk back. They have the mobility and they have the sustainability to do that. Kalea, you go for one combo and you're kind of cooked if you don't get value. So that's why we don't see as much Kalea, more so Cho and Khalid. Yeah. So I think that's about it for me to what I want to explain to you guys in the new patch. That's how you want. Again, this is like a tutorial for you guys. If you want to just dominate your games in ranked, you pick those heroes up. I think you should be able to just pick up wins, get to mythic very, very easily. Because yeah, it's the core fundamentals of the game has changed. You don't want to go for those big moment ultimates. And I do want to say, aside from Dangerous Grass, I don't really think we're going to see a lot of heroes that get special benefits from the new maps. Expanding Rivers just strengthens the point that I made, but the meta will still be the meta, like Brusco. Brusco. I called Khalid Brusco because Khalid, Brusco, they're always at the, but yeah, Khalid and Cho are always meta in any single map because of the mid-prio thing. Expanding Rivers just, you know, enhances that. Dangerous Grass, again, I have to give props to Alter Ego. Alter Ego have been really cool. Like their picks have been really good. I like Alter Ego in this patch. They pulled off a Kaja in Dangerous Grass twice, and it has worked twice as well. So yeah, less room for the opponents to actually, you know, kite away and to react because there are more bushes to play with. And for the Kaja, that really benefits him because there's no way you can actually escape from it. Still very reliant on a combo though, so you still have to utilize that. But in Dangerous Grass, some of those heroes, like the ambush heroes, can come up. But why the Kaja works so well is because he doesn't really lose out too much and clear in the mid lane. Kaja clears the mid lane quite fast with any mid laner. In the past, this has always been the case as well. So that's something you guys can bring up to the table in Dangerous Grass. Maybe in some of the ranked games, you'll see some Tigrils, etc. But those picks won't really be relevant if you already win early this hard. So yeah, I would say mid to high level. This is where you can really abuse the mid prio thing and the tempo advantage with the draft. And having this information early will get you a lot of wins early. So go ahead. Juicin is still very, very prio as well, by the way. Okay, ready to fight heroes. Okay, ready to fight heroes in trio mid. You can go for a bit of scaling in the gold, but XP also ready to fight. You never want to go scaling. Okay, very rarely do you want to go scaling. You want to just go snowball. So I hope you guys understand what I'm telling y'all. All right. Yeah, I do have one more message though for you guys back. Final announcement to you guys though. If you guys want to claim one of these really cool emotes, this is one of them. This is the Mas Ade emote. Or do you want this one? Both will be available for you guys as long as you vote through the events tab on MLBB. So go ahead, check it out. My personal favorite is Mas Ade's one because I get to laugh at my opponents. I think this is one of the better emotes that they've come up with, you know, in the game itself. This is pretty cool too, Maseko, but yeah, go ahead guys, check it out over in the events tab. Vote for who you think gets the emote. Mas Ade, this one, the ha ha ha, or if you actually just like the Mantap Leku one, that's fine too. But that's it. Thank you so much for watching the video, guys.